You know, folks, this is just it's hard to overstate. In fact, I don't think you can overstate how rattled everyone is inside Washington, D.C. related to all of this exposure of Obama. Fully aware of what the DOJ and FBI were trying to do to Michael Flynn, and complicit in this. Information coming out about that now. There is just terror quaking in the boots at the highest levels of the DNC, thinking, how do we handle this? What do we do? Because right now, U.S. Attorney Durham and Attorney General Barr, they are zeroing in on everybody involved in this coup, everybody involved in this attempt to take down the president. And that may include very high-ranking Democrats. There is great fear inside the Democrat Party right now, not just because they don't want their icon, former President Obama, to have anything further besmirch his record. It's not just protecting him. They fear the results of the fall elections are going to be swayed once the American people understand how complicit high levels of the Democrat Party were in this effort to take down the president of the United States. So I want to turn now. So President Trump was in the White House and he was asked a question by a reporter sitting there. I want to ask Matt the Wonderful to play that interview answer. President Trump was answering a question in the White House. He was actually with the governor of Texas. Governor Abbott happened to be there talking about COVID-19. But these are questions. This is President Trump's answer to what do we do now that we realize that Obama apparently was heavily involved. Here is Donald Trump.
He was an innocent man. He is a great gentleman. He was targeted by the Obama administration, and he was targeted in order to try and take down a president. And what they've done is a disgrace, and I hope a big price is going to be paid. The Obama administration, Justice Department, was a disgrace, and they got caught. They got caught. Very dishonest people. But much more than this, it's treason. It's treason. So I'm very happy for General Flynn. He was a great warrior, and he still is a great warrior. Now, in my book, he's an even greater warrior.
Who would you like to see pay a price for this?
Oh, the people should pay a big price for what they've done to this country. They should pay a big price. And their partner, very complicit, is a thing called the media. The media is totally guilty. And all of those writers and so-called journalists, they're not journalists, they're thieves. All of those journalists that received a Pulitzer Prize should be forced to give those Pulitzer Prizes back because they were all wrong. There was because if you saw today, more documents came out saying there was absolutely no collusion with Russia. Came out very loud and clear.
Okay, so there's President Trump talking with people in the White House, and he's used two words which are rarely used. He's used the word treason. He also tweeted out later the word Obamagate. And, you know, I have to tell you that many people in our country will say, I'm tired of all these scandals. I'm tired of the next something gate. I'm tired of all we do is investigate each other. But people, you have to realize what this has done. I'm going to remind you again. President Trump was elected in the 2016 elections, took office in 2017 on a massive, sea change policy of saying we're not going to continue the American path over the cliff towards socialism, over the cliff toward destruction of our country's military, over the cliff of abandoning borders, over the cliff of abandoning American sovereignty, he ran on a radical, but yet very simple pro-American message. Make America great again. It was make America again. That's what President Trump ran on. So he ran on reversing pretty much everything the Obama administration did, and more so reversing the just astonishing, breathtaking attempt of the Obama administration to move, as he said, the fundamental transformation, to transform this country from a country rooted in liberty and the guarantee of the rule of law and rooted in freedom and free markets and American sovereignty and American goodness and greatness. President Trump ran on all of that, and it was all totally opposite, the complete opposite of what Obama tried to do for 8 years. President Trump's victory changed everything for the American left. It changed their path toward bigger, more collectivized government in Washington. It changed their path toward abandoning American sovereignty and embracing world globalism and global government, or UN, becoming a bigger part of the UN international community and less committed to America as unique and special, extraordinary country. So during the first 3 years of President Trump's presidency, he managed to do a huge portion of that agenda, while the entire time, he was under assault from the American left, from the DOJ, the FBI, from the investigation ongoing from the moment he took office, the investigation ongoing, filling headlines, every single conversation he ever had with anyone being examined, people having to give depositions, give answers to the FBI. The Mueller investigation went on for a multi-million, hundreds of thousands of deposition hours, thousands of witnesses, digging to find something to tie President Trump to this farce that the DOJ, FBI, had made up to start with, the whole Trump-Russia collusion. This is what we lived with in this country for the first 3 years under President Trump. We lived under the cloud the Democrats intentionally put over his head with the accusation that somehow, beneath it all, someplace, he was actually involved in collusion with Russia. And we discovered after all that money and all that time, and finally Mueller had to say, his investigation had to say, you know what, actually, there's nothing to this. This is pretty much what the Mueller report was, a big giant uncle to the left saying, sorry, there's nothing here. We've turned over every stone. We've dug up every witness. We have threatened witnesses. We have what they did to Lieutenant General Michael Flynn. They have entrapped people. They've made things up. They have arm twisted. They have engaged in the most egregious behavior worthy of the KGB, not of the American law enforcement agencies. And we're finally getting to the point where justice appears to be on the horizon. We are not there yet. The next several months are going to be monstrously, enormously important. They're going to be monstrously threatening to the American left, who is still hoping somehow they're going to emerge from this entire attack on Trump without having anyone on the left hurt. They thought somehow we'll get through all this and say, okay, never mind, we agree, Mueller report found nothing. But they didn't think there'd be culpability for all the players at the various high levels of this country. Clapper would be a big one, Brennan be a big one, Comey, Strzok, Page, McCabe, Rosenstein, you can go on with all these people. The left never thought the day of justice would come. They thought at the very most, we're going to have to say, okay, we couldn't find proof of the collusion. We still think it happened, but we couldn't find any proof. But what's coming out now, and I'm going to just, this is so huge what's happening. This is country changing. If we can insist as a people, insist as a nation, we will get to the bottom of this. We are going to get and dig out all the facts and all the players and all the conduct, and we're going to investigate, and we're going to seek indictments, and we're going to get indictments, and we're going to prosecute and put people in jail. It is the only answer if we ever want to have the rule of law in this country again. So down to Obama and what they have uncovered about him. The big thing, the big date everyone's tying to and pointing to is a meeting in the Oval Office January 5th. So now January 5th, of 2017, so Obama's still president, Trump's going to come on January 21st. So you have in the Oval Office a meeting with Obama, numerous other officials, and in his administration, DOJ officials, who now it turns out, as their depositions are being exposed, more documents coming out, they were actually surprised to learn that in that meeting, Obama already knew about the conversation between Lieutenant General Michael Flynn and the Russian ambassador, which, by the way, there was nothing wrong with. But he knew about it, and which then people, even at the meeting, were thinking, or reporting afterwards, why did he know that? Why would he have anything to do with that? Flynn wasn't wasn't working at that point for Obama. Why does Obama know about this? But Obama was on top of it, very aware of it. This is one reason people are saying, why in the world was he tuned into this? At what level did he recognize what the FBI and the DOJ were about to try to do to Michael Flynn? So his involvement just could not be more important and really more threatening of anything to the American left. The idea their icon Obama was somehow in the middle of this, and that somehow now the forces of seeking truth inside the DOJ, Attorney General Barr and U.S. Attorney Durham are digging and digging, and the idea they're going to get to Obama is rattling them more than you can possibly imagine. They cannot believe their guy is going to have is possibly implicated. The other big thing that came out of these documents that I was talking about were released, and just much to the horror of Adam Schiff, who was trying to prevent them ever being released, is that Adam Schiff, because he was chairing this whole effort, he's holding these secret depositions. He was aware as it went on, as they're doing their investigating on the House side, he was aware that nobody they talked to, no witness they could come up with, nobody they talked to had any evidence of this Russia-Trump collusion story. That's what he was being told in different words by different people. Everybody saying, we didn't really find anything. I mean, we looked, we didn't really find anything. They're telling you that all these top Obama officials told the House, told them that we're not finding anything, and we've looked, and they use dicey words, careful words you use when you are well trained and you're giving testimony under oath, so you kind of hedge. You're not that I recall, the best, no clear, no empirical evidence, blah blah blah. End of the day, I'll just give you one example. Former U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, Samantha Power, according to the transcript of her interview, which she gave to the House, she says, I'm not in possession of anything. I'm not in possession and didn't read or absorb information that came out from the Intelligence Committee. Asked again, you're not aware of any information related to Trump-Russia collusion? No, I'm not aware of anything. You have a former Director of National Intelligence, James Clapper, testifying in 2017. I never saw any direct empirical evidence that the Trump campaign or someone in it was plotting or conspiring with the Russians to meddle with the election. I can keep reading statements, but I'm telling you what is so helpful to the good guys, helpful to the cause of truth, and deadly to the Democrat Party is it's becoming increasingly clear they knew there was nothing to this collusion hoax. There was just nothing to it. The people they called in for all their secret testimony, they're all saying essentially the same thing. Former Attorney General Loretta Lynch said she didn't recall being briefed up any of this being briefed up to me. I can't say if any evidence existed or not. All these people are telling the Democrats in the House, there's nothing here. There's nothing here. And yet only now in 2020, as we're now months away from an election, this being forced out, again, not by a shred of integrity in the part of Adam Schiff or any Democrat in Washington. They were forced to release this because acting DNI told them, Grinnell told them, if you don't release it, he had to threaten Schiff and say, if you don't release this, I will. I mean, this is what it took to get the Democrats to tell the American people the truth. One other thing I want to hit on this whole long point and whole long segment is, just as I was saying earlier, people saying they're kind of tired of all these investigations, tired of accusations and scandals. And, the left comes up with these all day long, and we investigate and we investigate and we investigate. There's nothing to it, but somehow we are not able as a country to ever hold anyone on the left accountable for the garbage they create as false scandals. They're never held accountable, never. And I'm going to get to that point in a minute, talking about the left's fury at all of this, because it is astonishing the level of anger they're expressing. Like they're just outraged. How could this be happening? But what the left is really saying is they are just aghast and horrified that truth is coming out, and they thought they had everything covered. They thought they had it all covered, so none of it's going to come out, and we're going to, folks, the next few months, it is going to be, I don't want to say break out your popcorn because that sounds like it's fun. It's serious, it's intense, it's the difference between having America or not America. Have a rule of law or no rule at all. If these people are not held accountable, it means we surrender the rule of law for the rest of time in America. This cannot be the one big giant pass we give to the left, even including Obama, just because we want to keep peace or because it's an election year, we don't want to be pilloried by the media. We have to decide that truth matters more than anything. And I think that Attorney General Barr, U.S. Attorney Durham are getting to the bottom of this, thank God. But there is a lot of more questions to come out, information to come out about what Obama knew, and it's really going to be vitally important that we insist on. We're not tired of it. We don't want anyone to abandon this effort. We're in this for the whole 9 yards, the whole truth.